Forging links.
Forging links.
Forging links, one person at a time.
So one of the other thing is the greatest asset in the world. If I said to you now, what would you value as being the greatest asset in the world? You'd probably say something like gold, silver, oil, whatever. Well, for me, as I've been a coach throughout my 35 years of employment, is what I've learned is the greatest asset on the planet is human beings. And when we are united and we're together, I think, I can't remember who said it on your call, but someone mentioned it, in fact, it might have even been you, Pinakee, that, you know, the power of human spirit and the power of unity is the greatest driving force in the world. And everything, and I mean everything, is designed to break that unity. And none so more than the education system, which you mentioned, because I am a trainer. I actually am a qualified coach, an adult coach, and in fact, I'm an adult educator. And when I did my teacher training, one of the modules was we looked at the education system as a whole. And I can tell you quite categorically, you know, Pinakee said, you know, the education system is basically, to use a French word, is crap. And what we actually identified in the unit was that the education system is designed for one purpose and one purpose only, is to produce 2% of the children that go through the education system to come out at the end as the lawyers, the doctors, the solicitors, the judges, you know, the MPs, and people who were being, I don't want to say the wrong word here, but if you think of the word groomed to be the leaders of the world, and they become the echelons of life. You know, they become the leaders, they become the prime ministers, the doctors, and all of those things. And it's a very, very exclusive club. And everybody else, they just want you to be, you know, working at Tesco's, working at the supermarket, working at car factories, dare I say it, being a teacher, and all of those things, because they just want you to perpetuate the system. They don't want entrepreneurs. They don't want everybody having an equal distribution of wealth. Could you imagine a world where everybody was equal in everything? You know, and I was recently on
Open Nation.
Go on. Oh, dare I say it? Yeah, but that for me was the key for what I got from today. Is I can see how the education system, the financial world, the banking elite, the global elites, those who want control over us, the people, they are desperate to stop cryptocurrency becoming what we believe it's going to be. Because the minute we start to access that untold wealth that is coming back to the people as it was always designed to be. And for those of you who are familiar with the American Declaration of Independence, Jefferson, one of the founding fathers, actually ensured that it was wrote in manuscript. And this is it, and I quote, "If ever this great nation," speaking of America, "allows its currency to be first introduced by inflation and then by deflation, that your children in future generations will end up on the streets of our great cities." And boy, oh boy, are we there. Now, what you got to remember, that was over 200 years ago. And here we are now on what I can only describe as almost a world global economy crash, which happens every 30, 40 years, by the way, so it's nothing new. So I'm not being an alarmist in any way, because that's just part of the cycle of the financial world, unfortunately. So I'm excited. I'm excited at the fact that we are now on the cusp and the verge of that tipping over of what is the world that we've kind of all grew up in over the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Because when this new digital age takes place, when this new technology called blockchain becomes distributed amongst the people of the world, and I'm talking about the poorest of the poor, when they've got access to international banking, 4.3 billion people on this planet don't even have a bank account. So how can they even play in this game? The biggest killer on the face of the earth, someone will say it's heart attacks, it's cancer, it's legally prescribed drugs. No, it's not. The biggest killer on the planet right now is one word and one word only, and it's called poverty. And here we are as pioneers in this incredible opportunity where we can take this anywhere in the world and show people and say, here is what the world has been waiting for, where the people get the power. And power, they say knowledge is power. I actually have a slightly different spin on that. It's not that knowledge is power, it's the application of knowledge that's power. And when people know how to play this game, that wealth distribution is coming, guys. And all we've got to do is just sit and wait, be in the right place, the right time, the right place. And I think that's exactly where we are. So any thoughts? Anyone got any thoughts to add today? Anything exciting, Kirsten?
No, mine's still going. We've just jumped off another call. It was an update node call or something. So my mind's been all over the place. And basically all I got from that was that wait for the presentation, wait for Hyphenation. There's so much. I think where the fear's coming is that people put their opinion as to what's going to happen. They got no idea what's going to happen. So I don't like all the surmising. So I jumped out of the call because I thought, no, I'm just going to wait for the facts. Because yeah. What do you think?
I'm not a node.
You're not a node?
I knew that if I did become a node, I'd probably get thrown out the group.
Yeah, no, it wasn't your one. I had to jump off your call in order to go onto this other call, which I was really bummed about because I was loving your call. Went over to that call and it was just like all surmising and people saying, oh, but what about this? And it's probably going to be this and it's probably going to be that. Probably, shortly. Yeah. We don't know. Just, just wait.
I ended my call by saying, if I was the company, I would lie to every single node and give them misinformation. Because guess what? When you think about it, and you put it like that, because the node call is supposed to be a call between you and the company, and you're all having these calls to come to some sort of consensus that makes sense, that can go out to the public. But what people are doing is they're saying, oh, I had a call because I'm a node, and I found out this, and somebody found out something different. They all add their little bit of spice to it, and suddenly you've got 20 different stories running around. And nobody knows what's going on.
That's what happened this morning. We got sent a note from somebody in Germany's node call. And then what we were shown on, or what we heard on our call today, it was contradicting. So I was just like, totally. Just leave them. Just wait till we get an official presentation. Everyone gets the same one.
Yes, totally. I'll just say, leave the door open.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to respond to a couple of the questions in the chat. Is it Deborah? Yeah, Deborah Lilly just said a good watch video how fiat currency is a Ponzi scheme. Now you're talking my language now. Kirsten will tell you. I'm a follower, avid follower of Mike Maloney, Hidden Secrets of Money, and if you really want to know how this game's played, get on Pinakee's talk, but also go on and see Mike Maloney, because I've been following that guy for 10 years. And here's the interesting thing. His last recorded one was actually in 2000, I think it's 2015, 16. And he was actually going around the world talking about currency and money, and 90% of people still don't know what the difference are. And if I asked a question here, I'd say 90% of you won't know the difference either, because it's one of those illusions. It's one of those Wizard of Oz tricks, But here's the thing. He's going around the world telling them, on his last call was somebody actually said to him, are you ever going to make a film about cryptocurrency? And he said, yes, I am. I'm about to do that. And anyway, cut a long story short, he goes on tour and he talks to all the specialists around crypto. And his concluding remarks were this. He said, right now, I think cryptocurrency is the answer to the world's problems. But he actually says, and I quote, there isn't a platform by which the mass majority of people can access it. And I went, well, right away, I mean, not that I haven't got big ears, but my ears went, whoa, hold on. I just heard what he said. When the tool came out that the mass majority of the world's population can access cryptocurrency, that is going to be the game changer. And guess what? We've got the tool by which that can be achieved. All we've got to do is invite people to come and have a look at what we've got and get them involved. And there are other things out there, guys. It's not all about, you know, we've talked about diversifying of recent weeks. Yep. You know, Kirsten and I were on a call with somebody else with a project that we're looking into, because right now there's a lot of people hating, and not just those who are in crypto, more so people who aren't. You know, the price of bread and petrol in the car, and, you know, single parenting, and mental health is a big issue, which I'm a mental health advocate. And right now, the world is on, it's hanging on a bloody knife edge. It's hanging over the cliff. But that's not a negative, because if you look throughout the history of the world, all great nations, empires, they come to an end and a new empire takes over. Right now, the last 200 years, the empire that's been in control of the world has been America. And it's got to end. It has to end. It's not an option. It has to end. And the next one will be another empire. I kind of know what that empire is, but that's not for this chat. But the issue is cryptocurrency and blockchain technology puts the power back into the people, away from these superpowers, these, you know, banking facilities, the government control. What people have missed over years and years of political argument is we elect our governments, not our governments tell us what we should do.
I beg to differ there at the moment. I beg to differ there. Yeah. I don't know if we're picking our governments at the moment. I think that's, but anyway, carry on.
The democracy that we have right now is that we're supposed to go in, tick a little box and say, I want Labour, I want conservatism, I want whoever. That system hasn't changed for the last 200 years, nor has the education system, by the way. But the point I'm trying to get is right now there is just so much uncertainty in the world that this thing about, you know, this pack animals, you know, they're kind of all running everywhere trying to think, hold on, where do we go, where do we go? Right now, cryptocurrency is the answer. And the more we can share that message of hope with people, the more we can invite and the more we can share and the more we can get involved, we are just going to be in such a prime position that when all of a sudden this word cryptocurrency becomes almost the norm, they're going to want to know, where do we get it from? How do we get in? What's all this wallet about? What's all this blockchain about? And that's what we're doing, you know? But anyway, I've said enough. Come on. Any thoughts, anybody?
I'm just typing at the same time. Not crispy.
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, when I talk about crypto, I always say that with all this technology that we have, we still go to a booth on a certain time every 4 years or whenever, put a cross on a piece of paper, which then gets delivered to someone who then counts it. I mean, how backward is that? We might as well be counting bones. You know, it's ridiculous. Where if it was on blockchain, we'd get the result instantly. It would be impossible to double vote.
Yep.
The problem is, the reason they don't want that is because, guess what? You'd have to put the real result out.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to cheat if it was on blockchain, would they?
Exactly.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, going back to Mike Maloney in his last episode, he actually went to visit a company called Hedera Hashgraph, which I don't know whether anyone's heard of that, but I actually went and met with that corporate team when I went over to America in 2017, because I was forming up a company with partners that were looking at mining equipment, and they were looking at blockchain and all of that. I'm going back, 5 years now. But Hashgraph was not a proof of work. It was a proof of stake and a proof of work. And that technology, even though it's now coming up to 4 or 5 years old, it almost makes blockchain look like a dinosaur in comparison. And that technology is here now, but nobody knows about it. And that's exactly where cryptocurrency was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, nobody knew about it. Now they know about it, but do they? Yeah. No, they don't. Because people will just say, oh, blockchain. I can remember as a Trekkie growing up as a teenager, and probably a few of you were in that mold. When Captain Kirk went like that, when he opened up his phone and he went, beam me up, Scotty, which he never ever said, by the way, but stuck with him. Everybody mocked that. Everybody mocked that technology. Oh, well, that'll never happen. Now, everyone from the age of 3, because my granddaughter has one, everyone from the age of 3 has got a mobile phone, and that technology was ridiculed. So for me, the more educated we get, and this is why Kirsten and I, as Forging Links, we have said, look, whatever's going on, forget it. Just forget it. Let's focus on education, because the more educated we become, the greater advantage that we will have. And coming into Pinakee's community, coming with Anthony and, all these leaders, what we've got to do, we've got to gather that herd. We've got to become the shepherds. We've got to become the people that say, look, we are community. The more they can scatter us, and the more they can divide us, and the more they can have brother against sister and uncle against auntie and all of that garbage. Who wins, guys? Who wins? We don't. Because divided we fall, together we stand. And for us, the greater and the stronger we can become community, the better and the more force we are for good, and I'm just looking at Ken Barefoot, blockchain is so universal, it answers every problem. Elections, middlemen, there won't be any bankers soon, there won't be any solicitors soon, there won't be any, dare I say it, I pray the day we don't have schools. Because not that's wrong. I don't have a problem with schools. Well, now there you go. We're on a different subject now. But my goal this year was that I could take my grandkids out of school, go on a world tour, and give them a world tour education. Look at cultures, look at how people live together, look how people grow food, look how people survive, and give them that life experience, rather than be sat in the classroom for 6-7 hours a day, come home, have something to eat, go to bed, and then repeat that every day for the next 15, 16 years. And then come out of that system and go into a university system for 4 to 5 years, and then come out of that system and start working, and then do that for the next 30, 40 years. Come on, guys. We've got to get a grip of what we're doing. Why are we here? What is your why as to why you are into this space? Because I'll tell you now, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, it's almost alien to most people. And that's why we want to focus on education, because the more you get educated in this space, the so more the advantage you're going to have in the next 3, 4, 5 years to come.
Absolutely. And
that's where Hyperverse comes in. When you sort of look at the DeFi and the startup and all these things, what they're actually saying to you is, now you've taken the first step into becoming your own bank. Now we're going to show you what your bank does with your money. They play with it.
Yes.
They tap it into different things and earn little bits here and there. And that's exactly what you're being taught. Is now you look at it sort of a few months down the road and think, well, exactly why do I need a bank?
Yep.
That's the education you're receiving. Is
Okay.
become your own bank and take control of your own finances. And if you get something wrong, kick yourself if you like.
Yeah, but it's all in your
Yeah.
hands. It's in your hands, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yvonne, you've got a question. If you'd like to unmute yourself, my dear.
I have, I think. I love unmuting myself.
Yeah, we love it. when you
Mind you, I think I like muting other people though.
unmute.
Yeah.
Just on that note that Pinakee was saying about being our own banker, I tried to put into Binance through my own bank account about 10 grand. Okay.
Mm.
I waited for 3 weeks for that to happen. It didn't happen. I get a phone call from the bank saying that they were holding on to it because they wanted to make sure that I wasn't putting it into a scam. And that sort of thing. But then instead of it, I said, all right, we'll send it back to me. It's still taken another 3 weeks for it to come back to me. Yeah, so
What?
that's still hasn't come yet. So that's the scam that I'm looking at.
That's totally. You know what? One of the things I learned when I was over in Africa and we were doing cryptocurrency is one of the guys over there stood up and said, "The money in your bank is not your money." And they go, "Yes, it is." And they go, "No, it isn't. Try and draw it all out." And the bank will say, "No, you can't. Who are you sending it to? Where's the proof?" And they almost treat you like a criminal
Yep,
for moving your own money.
Exactly.
Then you realize it's not yours.
Right. Yeah. And then I try to do it over my credit card, and I can only do 1,000 at a time. So I have to wait the 9 days to do the 10 days to do 10,000.
Yeah.
And yet, and luckily that goes over to Binance immediately.
Yeah.
Yes,
It goes over immediately. So, you know, I wish they had done that instead of doing the 10 through my bank. But they're obviously watching us.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
totally.
They're
Totally.
watching us. Yeah.
Because they're going to
Don't
be
forget.
out of job very soon, aren't they? Let's be honest. They're
We're the rats on their sinking ship.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. We're the ones digging the holes in their ship.
Yeah. Yeah. They're freaking out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you, guys.
Thank
That's
you,
what I have to
Yvonne.
say so far. Yep.
Thank you, lovely. Yeah, it's amazing that we wouldn't have even, I wouldn't have even known this about the banks until we started actually trying to do these things. And it's like, hold on a second, that's my money. You can't stop me getting my money. They're like, oh,
Exactly.
we're protecting you. I'm a big thank you very much.
I was told that years ago that what they do, you never do anything on a Friday because they take it out of your account. They use it over the weekend and it doesn't go into the other person's account till the Monday night.
And just making more money along the way. Yeah,
they're loaning it out at very high interest at that stage, and making money out of it and paying you pittance for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's still happening. But the interest, there's no interest in there anymore. Exactly. Yeah. Thanks,
You're muted,
guys.
Paul. You're muted, mate.
What? They're muted. He's talking to himself.
Flipping talking to himself there. And the thing is, it sounded good, and I thought, flipping heck, they won't even know what I was saying. Yeah, just on answer to that, what that is actually, Yvonne, is it's actually called arbitrage. And what they're saying is, when they know that you want to withdraw your money, they've got a window, and it's normally, it can be anything from 3 to 10 working days. Some banks are 10. So what they do, they say, well, hold on, Yvonne's going to draw this 10,000 out. So I'm going to play with that 10,000 now for the next 10 days, make as much money on that as I can, and then release it. Because what they're looking for is just purely to arbitrage that amount of money. You know, it might only be that they make on 10,000, they might only make $100, but that's $100 of your money that they've made money off. And do they give you anything for that? No, they don't. So banks make money not on their money, they make money off your money. And that's why the banking system, again, hasn't changed in 200 years, because they know if you don't put your money in the bank, they're out of business. So the minute everybody becomes crypto,
They're out of a job.
There's no job for them. So that's why they're so keeping hold of your money. They're scaring you, they're frightening you, they're making you worried about, oh, don't want to get into those crypto things, they're scamming you. And at the end of the day, they're done, and they know that their game's up. There's nothing worse than having somebody, think of a boxing ring now. When somebody's in that corner, they've got one of two choices. They either surrender and give up, or they come out really fighting to try and get away from that corner. Well, that's exactly where the banking system is right now. They know that they're almost beaten. So they're fighting for everything. And the higher up you go up the chain, they're fighting. But here's the thing. I've actually got a quote from JP Morgan, who's one of the richest people, one of the richest bankers in the world. He's actually fought cryptocurrency for 10 years. And yet now his daughter has got one of the biggest crypto portfolios in the world, because she's representing him in crypto. So even he knows the game's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anthony, to have you.
Going to jail there.
Good evening to you guys. Very interesting listening to you about banking and stuff like that. And I've got 3 members of my family in the banking world, and they've actually had to sign an agreement that they will not get involved with crypto. So they're not allowed to get involved with crypto because they then get penalized for it. And
I've heard that too.
and so I basically said to them, they don't with Hyperverse, you don't have to give your name, right? So you're kind of safe, but they're still worried. So we've got the children in the in Hyperverse, but them directly, they're not committing themselves at the moment. And another thing was, my mum has actually been in Hyperverse for almost a year now. Okay, and she had money in a bank for 15 years, and she was the reason they've been messing her around for so long, and I didn't know about it until recently. She was too embarrassed to actually say anything to me. So what they used to do was, every time she went to withdraw money, somebody would talk to her and say, look, your money's safe in here. We've got a special deal going on. And what they would do is tie her in for another kind of long-term contract, right? And that would that would take 5 years, 15 years, and she was never able to withdraw money. Okay, and this is one of the Indian banks. It's a Bank of Baroda. So what I didn't realize was, she had opened an account here in the UK, thinking that it was the same bank as India. So India's Bank of Baroda is different to the UK one. The UK is Bank of Baroda UK Limited. So every time she went to Goa, thinking that she would be able to use the funds that she's got here, she wasn't able to do that. So when I found out, I just rang the bank manager, closed the account, I actually took her to the bank, closed the account, and then she used that to fund Hyperverse. It's because she thought that she would never get it back. This is what the banks do. They prey on innocent people, thinking that they just tell them whatever they need to tell them, so that you don't take the money out.
And they've always been such a trusted kind of institution. Like, I remember growing up, you could always trust a bank. That was
my mum always
you could always trust a politician.
Well, they give you a bank book. They give you all the this is how much you've got. This is the interest you're going to get. And when I actually closed the bank account, or when I said I was going to close, the manager came to see me, and she said, if you keep this money in the bank for another 2 months, you will get the full interest. And if you take it out now, you're going to lose all the interest that she's been, that's accumulated. And I said, I don't care. I'm taking it out anyway. So within 3 days, the money was out. And that was the end of that bank. So yeah, banks are very, I didn't know how, what they do to people
Yes.
in order to keep the money in. They'll do anything if they can get away with it.
Yeah, well, they
Yeah,
won't get away with it
absolutely.
much longer.
I used to be a debt counsellor.
You did.
Right.
So I used to go around the country going through people's debts and helping them do debt management or bankruptcies or IVAs, etc. And that's when you realize that bankers are no different from drug pushers.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
They're not giving out credit.
Because don't forget, what they do is they send you this letter saying, oh, free credit card, you can have a 10 grand limit.
Yep.
And you go, I don't need it, throw it in the bin. And you keep throwing it in the bin. Eventually, one day, you'll go, I'll fill it in. So you fill it in, send it off. One day, something happens, and you think, I'll put it on the card, I'll pay it off at the end of the month. End of the month, something else happens. That's it, too late, you're done.
Absolutely.
Just a trap. And they get the young ones too, eh? The ones at university
Oh, yeah.
that are struggling, that want a party, want a nice car, whatever. Yeah, oh, here's all this credit. Still paying it off
Yes.
in the 30s.
Yeah. And
That's
then they hit
one
them
way
with
to crash the system, is to pay off every single debt. And the whole
well,
system collapses.
My son was caught into the system where he didn't want to tell us that he was in trouble with the bank, but he used to borrow money from one to pay the other because all they were doing him, charging him interest and fines. The amount of fines he paid, it was just, if he had spoken to one of us, we'd have just settled it all. But he was too scared, I suppose, to come up and say, look, this is what's happened. And
Yeah.
the fine and the letter they send you, they charge you another 15 pounds just for a simple letter. Crazy stuff.
Disgusting. They're the biggest scammers ever.
Yeah.
Totally.
All right.
But going back to education, the other thing I think Paul was mentioning, it's on our platform. This is how we train our members. Talk, because everyone confuses this with investment. The moment you start talking hyperverse, they somehow bring in dollars, and we don't talk dollars, we don't talk anything. We make it very, very clear from the beginning, these are just hyper units. They are just units of measure. That's all it is. All right, this platform is you're paying for an education, or you're subscribing for this education that we're learning, and then the business releases rewards to you. They give it back to you in rewards, and then we learn how to exchange the rewards for crypto. So this is we're just learning how the banks work, really, right? But we are on safe. The reason we are safe is because if we had crypto, it would be going up and down. But here with hyper units, or we call them units of measure, it doesn't affect anything. So when you're ready, when the crypto is high, you then go and exchange them. But at the moment, keep them tight with you. They're so valuable, I would say. Don't withdraw. At the moment, we're telling everyone not to withdraw.
That's
Just keep them in.
Wise advice.
Keep rebuying. Yeah. Well, some people have to withdraw because they need bills to pay, etc. So they will, they've got no choices. They've got to do whatever they need to do, but they will get less. So it's their choice. You can't force anyone to do anything. As in, we just advise them.
Something that I love about the Hyperverse platform itself is that I came in knowing absolutely I could spell crypto. That was about as much as I knew. And I went in there and I learned so much just by doing in there, exchanging, pulling it out to a wallet. Like I didn't have a crypto wallet. I didn't have anything. And so all these steps, even funding an account, getting to that point, I learned so much. That's why I just love it, because the education that you get by doing in there,
Absolutely.
yeah,
It's fun.
It's been wonderful.
Has anyone got one of the crypto cards from from HyperBC? Has anyone here got that card?
Yep.
Amazing.
I call it my sexy black card. It's a black Visa. Love it. I can take it to the wall, put it in the wall, and pull out like $5,000. It's beautiful. Whereas the
Does
bank
it-
would tell me I'd had my daily limit if I couldn't do that, you know. So I just love it. And yeah, Dee's just said she's ordered it. It's not arrived. I know I must have got in just in the little window. We're only waited 3 months, and then just after that,
Yeah.
it's sort of
Yeah,
everyone's been waiting
it's
6
the-
months.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for mine. But
Okay.
yeah, just on that, thanks for that, Anthony and Pinakee, because I think that there's some really good golden nuggets there. But one of the things that we've all experienced together over the last, well, certainly the last 3 months, is that we're sitting in a place of real uncertainty. And if we've learned anything from this, is just how important we need to be together. We need to be united. And we need to really plug into to the groups that are giving us education. You know, Kirsten and I joined Pinakee's group this morning. We get up at stupid o'clock to do Anthony's group. I thought I'd got rid of that stupid o'clock, but it's back. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
you know what? I'm getting so much benefit from it that I'm almost becoming bulletproof again.
Yeah.
And that's what's key. You know, I say knowledge is power, but the application of knowledge is even more powerful. And you add in community to that. You add in the sense that I'm part of a tribe, or I'm part of a, don't want to use the word herd because that's the wrong word, but if we're united together and we're hand in glove and we're community, we can do anything, guys. We can achieve anything. And that's what Hyperverse, and as it rolls out, I'm sure we'll get a sense that Hyper Nation is going to be part of that. And once we know where we're at, by being together, we can conquer the world, literally. And all of those,
It's really good to have you, at 5 a.m., Paul, and it just gives a different dynamics. I mean, you come in and share your thoughts, and it helps our members. It's amazing. And Pinakee, we hear about you too. We need to find out what you do, and see if we can collaborate in some way and learn from you. It's all about.
And something I want to do, guys, as well, because I'm looking at it. One of our church leaders, Kirsten and I, and quite a number of people that are on this call, we're all from the same faith. And one of our leaders, who I had the great privilege of actually looking after, because I became his security guard at one point, and he used to, whenever he addressed the pulpit, he's one of our big leaders. We have prophets and apostles, and he was the prophet at the time. Think of Moses, think of that kind of figurehead. Well, to us, this guy was that guy. And I was assigned to be his bodyguard when he came to Preston to open up our temple. And I was with him for 3 days. And whenever he got on the pulpit, he'd always used to say, looking at the congregation, and we're talking now 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people, little man, couldn't be more than 5'4", 5'5", and he'd look at you and he'd go, do you know what? It's good to look into your faces. And oh boy, do some of your faces need looking into. And he just had that sense of humor. What I want you guys at the top of this thing, put your cameras on, because we want to look at your faces. Yes, some of them may need looking into, but we want you to be part. I mean, look at Pinakee. Yeah. I mean,
love it.
If I saw him in the dark, it scared the crap out of me. You know what I mean? Because he looks like he could just about box me ears in. But at the end of the day, guys, we're community. Yeah. We want to see your faces, y'all. Now look at that.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't matter. One of the greatest things that you can do in this industry is mindset stuff. You know,
Yeah.
where's your confidence level? Where's your belief level? Where's your, I mean, I use Kirsten as the example. When I first introduced this opportunity to Kirsten just over a year, I think it's a year ago now, isn't it? I'm right, June, July. She ran a mile. She wasn't interested, didn't want to do nothing. No, don't do that. No, not me. And now 12 months later, look where she is. So, I remember a famous quote once, which kind of always stuck with me because I didn't understand it at first, and then I got to learn it, and I did, because I do a lot of mindset stuff. And this was the quote: "The greatest painter never painted a picture. The greatest athlete never ran. The greatest footballer never put on a pair of football boots." And the essence of that is, you don't know who you can become unless you get out there and become it. I've just gone back into doing art. When I lost my wife, I kind of took up art as a way of getting me through what was a very difficult time. You don't know what your talents are. But one thing I can pretty guarantee you with this industry, you know more than 97% of the world's population. And with that knowledge and that application of that knowledge, you're going to be world leaders. You're going to be educators in the proper sense, educators. Because this space, this crypto, this blockchain, this technology, it is going to revolutionize the world. And you're part of that. You're pioneers, you're influencers, you're builders, think of, engineers who build bridges and roads and all that. You're building, and that's where, where our Forging Links comes from. Is my first job was a blacksmith. And the first thing a blacksmith learns to do is to forge a link. And trust me, the first 25 didn't quite turn out how I was hoping. Because until you master that skill, and there's another quotation that goes along with that, a chain is only as strong as the weakest link. So you could make 100 links be absolutely perfect, and one of them is flawed because it didn't fire well properly. And once it goes under tension and it puts a bit of strain on it, it will always break at the weakest link. Now, I don't want any human being to be a weak link. You have been given godlike qualities. You've been created by, for me, the greatest architect in the world. And I'm not saying you necessarily have to believe in God or the universe, whatever your word is. You are unique. There isn't another you. And in some cases, thank God for that. But here's the thing. You are beautiful. You are spirit. You are the universe. You are the metaverse. You are a chain, a link. You are community. And we're just so grateful that you've allowed us, Kirsten and I, to be part of you. And we've got some people who have come to us like Pinakee and Anthony and many others. I can remember Yvonne, I think there was a period of about 6 months where I spoke to her more than I spoke for 10 years to my wife, because we give back, we give all that we can to help and build and lift, and we rise by lifting others.
Can I just say something on that? That's exactly what I get from Pinakee. I saw him on Keith's call. What was it on? Leadership or something? It was on one call anyway. Pinakee was right at the end. And I thought, wow, I need to connect with that guy, and contacted him, and he was just like, yep, no worries, no problem. I said, can we come into your course? Yep, no problem. And I was kind of expecting like, oh, maybe there's a fee or something. No, just a servant leader. And that's with Anthony's calls that we've been invited on that at 5 a.m. in the UK every day, 7 days a week, these guys are on that call. They don't have to be there. Like Pinakee doesn't have to be there doing those things. They do it. They don't get any extra pay for it. They just do it because they want to lift other people. And that, man, that's going to bring you some amazing karma or juju or whatever, blessings, whatever you want to call it. Because what you give out, you get back tenfold. And I firmly believe that. So thank you, you guys. You're incredible. Love it.
Thank
You
you.
know, one thing, our community, we've got over 20 Filipinos in that community.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, none of them used to put their cameras on. Absolutely. It was so difficult. We asked them to put their cameras on and they wouldn't say anything. Then the next thing we had to do was to just ask them to say good morning or just a hello. That's all. And it started from there. And now they have learned. They were shy because of their accent, because of their language. I think Paul heard a little bit today. And now they share. They come up and they start talking, they start giggling. Sometimes they're emotional, they cry.
Yeah.
We share everything with them.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful space.
Yeah, we do tell them that we're here to help them. We're not here to it's all about growing and try. This business of ours is about communication. We have to communicate with people, and if you don't, then you don't get anywhere, right? So it's for them. We do it for them. So yeah, and one word leads to two, to three, and now it's sentences. And it's so wonderful to hear them say they've spoken to someone. And we also tell them they don't have to do everything themselves. We bring them on a three-way call. So if they have someone from different parts of the world, and if they can't get hold of a person, they get, we're all together. They just make a connection with any of us, and we're on a three-way call to them, just to help them explain to the other person.
And what you're doing is you're teaching them confidence, or you're gifting them confidence in those calls. Yeah, I just think it's a beautiful space. Love it. Love your work.
So any of you people at the top who have now put your cameras on, any thoughts? Kev, I've noticed you've made quite a few comments and there's some great stuff in there. And I'd like to actually hear that you can talk. I know you can type. I've kind of sussed that skill out. But any thoughts on what you've heard? Anything you'd like to share with us? And as Kirsten will bear testimony, I like to take people out their comfort zone.
Right.
So, Kevin, nice to see you, my friend.
Is my microphone on?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, it's on. Yes.
Okay. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't mind coming on video. To be fair, I used to go on with Jamie and Chris Curtis because I'm under Jamie and Chris Curtis. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And like I say, I used to go on regular, and then I went and I was at work and I got ill, and I've got a neurological problem, so I've got to be careful with screen and noise because it triggers off bad migraines. So I've sort of taken a back seat of going on video and just typing because it's easier, But it's good to get on anyway, and thank you for everything that you're doing.
Good
Going in the
luck,
calls as much as I can because I'm off work at the moment. Sadly, I'm not fit enough to go back yet. So you guys are keeping me going, to be fair. I had my brother down yesterday. He lives about 10 miles away from us, and he's in hyperverse under us. And he saw the crash happening today, bless him, and he had no idea. He thought that was the end of the world, everything was red. He couldn't understand it, And me and my wife's in hyperverse with our own accounts, and we decided a few days ago that the best thing we can do, not only for the community but for the company as well, is to not withdraw and use the DeFi within the back office, to try and help them financially, because what's a withdrawal to us at the moment, it's not needed, And like many others I've heard in the calls, they're in the same sort of space as I am. You know, it's like, well, instead of just leaving it in our pending rewards, sat there doing nothing, why don't we help the community? Why don't we help the business, you know? Because everybody's struggling, and it's clear to us that the guys at the top are here to stay. And even though we know what's happened on the membership side, without saying too much, there's also the global side that is nothing to do with them. It's not them that's created this, but they need as much help from us at this moment in time than we do from them.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
That's exactly the way I look at it. I've been, don't know if anybody knows, I've been in this since January 2020. So 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And basically I've now, for the past probably month or more, I don't withdraw anything. I've got pending rewards which are from past, but I've just left them there. Now I convert everything into HVT MOF. I stake like there's no tomorrow. I've staked loads, and I just constantly stake all the time. 6 months, 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, whatever it is. To me, it's for the future. So, you know, now I don't even look at the price of different coins. I just look at it and think, well, how many do I want to hold?
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, Hyper has given me the opportunity to build an arc.
I love
Yeah,
that.
like you
I
guys
love
absolutely.
This
You
is
guys
exactly
taught us that, you know, we can spend our time learning in the back office, you know. Like I say, my brother saw all the red candles on the marketplace and he was like, oh my God, you know what's happening? Now he's got a very fruitful account. He's maybe 10 times more than I have, you know. And he says, well, what do we do? Do we just sit on it? So I explained to him last night about how he can help the business to thrive. He didn't understand that by using the coins, it was helping him, which it is. You know, we're looking for longevity in this space. We're not just looking at sort of bonuses for this week or this month. We're looking for long-term, you know, prospects, you know. So, you know, we went through it with him, and like I say, he's not very, you know, crypto minded, but you don't need to be. You know, if you've got a good support team, and you know, I get my information from you guys and Keith. I went on the call earlier on, and he just blows my mind. He really does, because there's so much positivity there. It helps keep us going, you know. Yeah, I was a bit worried for a start, you know, about a month ago when it was clear there was problems in the back office. The worry was there, but there was always that little man sat on my shoulder saying, it's not all that bad, but we didn't know why. Do you know what I mean? And then with being off work, I've had that time to sit right back. There's been no withdrawals, no work, nothing. And I've pieced every bit together, and I thought, it isn't that bad. It really isn't that bad, you know? We're in the best space. We really are. And we've been, it said, Anthony, I think, we've been in it, what, a year and a half? Yeah, just a year now. On the education, I mean, straight away, when we first went into it, it was when I started looking at Doge. It was on the TV, you know, and it's like, what's this, you know? Because guess what, guys, right? This is going to blow your mind, yeah? Years ago, how old would I be?
Well, about 10 years ago.
Yeah, when about Bitcoin, yeah? I got offered, get this, 12 Bitcoin for a $5. I know. Paul, I did that as well when I realized a year or so ago what Bitcoin was. And I'd been told, just a bloke down the pub, you know, and he told me about this Bitcoin. And I said, well, if I give you the money for it, where is it? You know, I didn't get it at all, you know. And he's like, well, you don't get anything. And I'm like, I don't want it then, you know. If only I knew back then, you know. But yeah, 12 Bitcoin for $5.
Brilliant. Let me share a story, Kev, about that, because that just brought back a memory.
Thank you for sharing.
That was lovely. You know, that's what this is about, guys. We want you all to come in and contribute. Back in 2014 when Bitcoin went through its kind of first pump and then dump, as they say. I had about 3,500 that I was looking to invest. I thought, I'm kind of getting on a bit now. I think I need to make some decisions about where I was going to be at retirement. So I saw, a little bit like Ken, I saw this word Bitcoin and I thought, what's all this about? And I did a little bit of research, and to be fair, there was just nobody to talk to in those days. If you were in Silicon Valley and you were a geek, you kind of got it. But I didn't get it. And Kirsten will tell you I don't get a lot of things neither. But the issue here was I could have put 3,500 into Bitcoin when it was about $130, something like that. Had I have done that, and this is for Ken, don't think too bad of it, wait till you hear this one. Had I put that 3,500 into Bitcoin in 2014 when it was $113, it would now be worth 86 million.
Oh yeah.
And I missed it because, and you know the reason why I missed it, Ken? Because at that point in time, there was no community. There was no talk of crypto. There was no talk of blockchain. It was just this, you know, it's like the iCloud. You know, if I said to you now on your phone, can anybody please tell me where this iCloud is? Because I can't find it. You know what I mean? It's that vision, isn't it? It's that, well, you know, I'm looking up and can anyone tell me where this iCloud is? Because we're storing information somewhere and we don't even know where it is. And that was kind of what crypto was 10, 12 years ago. It was just this almost an illusion of something. Well, where is it? What do you mean you can't hold it, but it's worth this and it could make you a millionaire? But how can it make you a millionaire if you can't even see it, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't bite it? You know, if you remember back in the days of old when gold was gold and all that stuff, what did they do? I mean, if they picked up a gold coin, you know, they'd bite on it to check it was gold. You know, you can't do that with a Bitcoin. You can't, where is it? So the point I want to make with this, when new technology comes to us in whatever form, it goes through 3 stages. First, it is absolutely ridiculed. Well, that'll never work. The internet will never work. Mobile phones will forget. I can remember a friend of mine who I called in church. He was the equivalent of your 007, James Bond. If there was a new gadget out, he had it. And the first mobile phone was a car battery with a little handheld thing on the top of it. And it weighed about 11 pounds in weight. And he'd be carrying this thing. Everybody else would be carrying their scriptures, and he was carrying his mobile phone. But the essence was, he was the first person to have a mobile phone. And then, look at us now. Everyone's got one. That'll never work. That'll never take off. And this is exactly where we are. And then the second stage of that, it is violently attacked. Now, we could say, those who understand crypto, that the last 3 to 1 year, it is being violently attacked. And then the third stage of crypto is it is massively adopted. And that's where we are. We are on the cusp and the verge of mass adoption. And the more MOF we have, the more HVT we have, the more HyperDAO we have, the more Hcash we have, the more Filecoin we have, the more we have staked in our back office and other cryptos. I would still recommend other one. You know, it's worth having a bit of Bitcoin, a bit of Ethereum, Polkadot. Keith talked about Polkadot today and some of the coins that he staked over the years. And yes, he went to 20,000 and then came down to 10. He went to 5,000 and came down to 1. But at some point, he knows, because he's got educated. He's focused on education. He knows that there'll come a day when that price will do that. And we call that a hockey stick. When it goes from, you know, it goes along, it just rises, and then all of a sudden, mass adoption, boom. We are there. We are right on that hockey stick of curve. And if we can just get educated what we're doing, we fell into the psychology of, we were all getting these wonderful rewards. We were all getting this lifestyle. Whoa, look at this. This is great. And then the reality hit home. And
I think you've hit. Sorry, Paul.
No, you're right, Kev. But the point I want to make on that, and we come to Kev, is that when you understand what crypto is, the last thing you want to be doing right now is selling it. You want to be buying it now, because the simple rule of crypto is this: you buy when it's low and you sell when it's high. And if anyone has taught you anything over the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's low. So why on earth would you be selling it? So buy it. Whatever your rewards are worth, convert it over, get it into MOF, get it into HVT, get it staked. You know, you're getting 10, 12, 13, 15% in the back office. You put that in the bank, you'd be lucky if you got 1%. Kevin, come on, mate.
Paul, all these examples that you've given remind me of a conversation me and my wife was having about a week ago. The internet, I was, you know, the geeky one where you jump in, you have a go, you make mistakes, and then the whole family laugh at you, and then they follow eventually, you know. But I'm always the one that jumps into the, or out of the box, so to speak. And I was one of the first to go on the internet, and images like JPEGs and, you know, pictures didn't exist, believe it or not, right back in the day. And we was just contemplating this the other day, because like you said, the mobile phone has everything in it now, absolutely everything in it. So the technology has come on so much. The whole point of what I'm getting at is every example that we've discussed this afternoon comes down to one thing, I think, and it's hands-on. It's getting hands-on to learn yourself. I opened a computer repair shop. I had no idea about computers, so I self-taught myself, you know, went online, you know, went round to friends. You know, like a kid takes a toy apart to see how it works. That's how I learned, you know, and I just built myself up. And like you just identified, Paul, when we are the pioneers in anything like this, we seem to be very alone, but it puts you in a good standing to help other people. I mean, nowadays, I can't teach anything to anybody about computers. They're probably bloody brighter than I am. My kids know more about computers than I do, you know. But when it comes to crypto, they know nothing. So one thing that every member of this group can take away is that you are that pioneer in your circle of friends, relatives, you know, because we're learning in the space, you know, and we're at that beginning where they need the help, where we didn't have any help. There's nobody for us to turn to. We are that one step ahead. So you're in an absolutely fantastic place, especially as a community. There was no community for me to learn about computers. Amateur radios, I've just grabbed this, I'm an amateur radio operator, okay? This is a handheld radio that I can take anywhere in the field and speak to anybody around the world.
I need
on
one.
all the ham bands. Now, to be able to do something like that only 10 years ago, you needed a room full of bloody equipment, and there was no chance you could take it on your back anywhere, you know? So I got my license, I got my advanced license in order to teach other people to pick them up, to get more out of that space. And this is the time while we're waiting for Hyperverse, Hypernation to sort themselves out. That's exactly what we can do. We can be those teachers, you know, we can help each other. I might be a little bit more advanced in NFTs than Joe Bloggs, you know, so I'll help him. But believe me, I'm getting loads of things from you guys, you know, that are great golden nuggets, things that have helped me in the back office to put my money to work and such, like, you know. So it is about linking, forging links.
Helping each other. Yep.
Golden nuggets.
Right, we've gone over the hour, guys, and I know Kirsten likes to.
Hang on.
I just wanted to I'm going to go share screen to Mr. Pinakee just before we sign out. I just want to thank you guys for your participation too. Like, it was really nice to see and hear from you guys. But I'm just going to hand over the share screen to Pinakee, and he's going to share something with us.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So Kevin mentioned exactly the right thing, right at the right time as well. Golden nuggets.
I love
So,
them.
there are 18 people on the call, so take me out. That leaves 17. Such a great number.
It is.
Anyway,
Fabulous.
in the chat box, write down a number from 1 to 17. Any number, just pick one. It should be fun. I've done this many a time in my group as well. So 1 to 17.
Hold on. I don't think mine's gone in. Give us a minute. Where's mine gone? No, it's not gone in. Try it now.
Have we got everyone?
Yeah. Come on.
You can guarantee that what will happen is a number that hasn't been picked will turn up. Number 12.
Oh my God.
It was number 12. There was 2 number 12s I saw, I'm
Me
sure.
and Queen Bee.
Kevin, Queen Bee.
Yeah.
BD.
Ah, there you go. Perfect. Okay. So you two send me an email on, actually, let me write it into the group.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited.
There you go. Yeah. And I will
Just
send
take a
you.
note.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll copy that out actually and put it.
I'll send you, once you follow the instructions,
Okay, guys. I've
1,500
got-
1,500 coins each
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
of this
Thank you very much.
gold-backed cryptocurrency,
Wow.
which is
Awesome. Very
this
much
is
indeed.
truly gold-backed.
CDC.
GSX. I've got a feeling I was looking at this the other day.
It's been anxious.
Oh, Pinakee, thank you very much indeed. That's what I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes.
That's incredible. Thank you so much.
So recently,
Wow.
just to give you a boost, they've just, one of their gold mines, because all the mines that are that they own, which is about 3, are
Mhm.
put into trust. So if anything happens to the company, the coin holders become the owners of the land, the mine, and the assets.
Wow.
They've just had a report that one of their mines has been valued at $40 billion.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
The coin
you've
value is about
cured
2.5
some-
cents at the moment.
It's coin. It's coin. That's, oh man, thank you, Pinakee.
There you go.
What a nice surprise at the end of the call.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
And do you know
It's
what,
cool.
guys? I'm gonna come back on the call after we've got it all set up or what we have to do. I'll follow the step by step with Pinakee, and then we'll come on
Yeah.
the call and we'll let you know how it's all going on.
Absolutely. We would love that.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Zach. What a way to end
Thank
the
you.
call. Thank you so much, guys. That was brilliant. Love it. Woohoo. Now I'm going to be smiling like this all day. Thank you so much for being here, everybody.
That
I
was
love you
wonderful.
all. I
Thank you very much.
appreciate you all. You are our
So the winners were Kev and D. Was it?
D.
D.
Green Bee.
Yes.
Yeah, D.
Just before you finish, Kirsten, Ben just raised his hand. I don't know whether he's got something he wants to share. If you want, just want to unmute him. And then
Clapping now. Yep. Asked to unmute.
put your camera on, Ben.
Did you want to talk, Ben, or not? Or are you just clapping?
Oh, it's a clap, I think.
Yeah.
It was a clap.
Just,
Yeah. He's at work.
All right, guys, need to get to bed because these guys are going to have me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So
Thank you so
Take care.
much. Wow, appreciate you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.
Good.
Bye.
take
night,
care.
everyone.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Forging links.
Forging links, one person at a time.